the Comic DF.
What is up, besties? It is your girl, the Karmic DF, back to you again with another video. And this time we're going to kind of like make a whole general video about how to come back home to yourself, how to rethink the life that you're living, how to rethink how the world played a part in it, and how to ultimately come back to yourself so that you can truly be happy, so that you're not chasing after things and that joy just naturally comes to you from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. So if you're tired of consistently being stressed out, if you're tired of always being, focused on what you need to get done in the future while being overwhelmed by the past, and you're ready to take life back and have that power again, then this is the video for you. As always, please do like these videos. It really does help my channel. Leave comments down below on what you want to see in future videos, on if any of this helped you, if you need me to go further into anything. Subscribe, hit that notification bell for future videos, and let me know what you guys want to see in future videos. And as always, let's get into it. So I'm asking you to finish this entire video for you, not for me, for the health of yourself and the inevitable ripple effect that humanity so desperately needs right now. Society as a whole makes you sick, intentional or not, and it's designed to keep you unhappy. You're taught who to be from youth, what to wear, what to look like, who to date, what to consume, told who to be from everything and everyone. So how would you know who you are? How would you know what your likes and dislikes are from the moment that you're taught, don't do this, don't act this way, don't be this person, this is unacceptable? I mean, my whole entire being has been scrutinized. Don't dye your hair, don't do tattoos. If you're gonna do tattoos, make sure they're hidden. And then I get hand tattoos, and guess what? I'm known for having my hands on the internet. So it's really understanding that we're getting it from every single direction, right? And so if we don't understand why we've become this way, then we can't undo everything that's made us become not as attached to ourselves as we used to be, not as whole, because we are not looking within ourselves in order to get back to that. So with society, their system is perfect because first we break you and then we give you the fix, whether that's stimulants, drugs and alcohol, TV, social media, video games, you name it. Anything to escape yourself, to further the lack of self-love, from BS diet fads to then falling to then come consume. And I'm guilty of it too. But our natural state is to flow, but we're taught to chase the next high, because then our subconscious mind believes that happiness lies outside of us. So we continue to chase, chase, chase. Happiness is a state of being. It's not a goal to achieve unless we are disconnected from ourselves. And that is what they play to, what we fall victim to, because they know that from the moment of birth, they give you unrealistic standards. You're supposed to be this way or you don't fit in. They promote unhealthy relationships, even in rom-coms themselves. If you actually watch them, like The Notebook itself, for instance, starts off with the guy stalking her. Realistically, that is not healthy. From that moment, should have been cut off, right? And so with all of these avenues in which we are taught to be exactly the opposite of who we're meant to be, we are therefore always going to be disconnected from ourselves. And then therefore, instead of going within to fix the damage, we go outside of ourselves to find a fix, kind of like a Band-Aid on a bullet hole in your arm. It's not going to fix the problem. And so we get trapped in this loop of, I'm not good enough because I believe it because of what is being shown to me on TV, media, etc. And so what do? I consume to fill that void instead of actually going within and understanding why that void is there, healing it, and being able to identify where we feel less than, so that we can actually take control back of our lives and not be victims of all of these half-ass measures to feel better, when in reality what we're doing is numbing down emotions that are inevitably going to come up. This is how disease happens. This is how health starts to deteriorate, because the emotions are part of energy, and energy needs to go somewhere. And if you are getting hit in all avenues, whether it's relationships or just social media or the news telling you who to be and all of that, when it's all being bombarded to your system and you don't have time to process it, and now you feel like you're less than, and now you feel like you have to look a certain way, and now you feel like you're not enough for this, that, and the third reason. But instead of going within to ask the bigger question of why, what we do is we try to conform, right? We try to fit in. And when we fit in, we don't find that level of joy and peace and happiness, because we are all born to be our unique selves. And again, society does not promote that. It makes you fit in. And so we have this disconnect in our system, in our nervous system, in health especially, where we don't know how to be ourselves. We don't know how to get in touch with ourselves. We're uncomfortable with emotions. And so what do? We consume, we avoid, and we use this toxic, healthy system that we believe that works for us, of running away from ourselves in order to get short-term release and relief from a long-term problem. Imagine for a moment if your parents were like, who do you want to be, and supported it with absolutely no bias. And unfortunately, most can't, because it's been going on for generations. It's ingrained. And so we are so quick to lose our dreams and imagination because, again, it's not realistic. But imagine if we didn't need to escape our life. That boils down to, how could you honestly love your life yourself when you've been told who to be, how to live, how to act, add in a soul-sucking job, and then we're all seriously baffled? We've become so disconnected from how we should live as a human species, and so we're getting hit in every aspect, whether that's physical, emotional, spiritual. And when you are not completely in tune with yourself, your needs, your wants, your desires, then of course it's going to be hard for you to live your most authentic life. Now, that's not to tear down parents that couldn't show up for us. Again, we are seeing a generational problem here. I mean, how long ago was it where, women couldn't own their own, they couldn't have a bank, they couldn't have their own job. So it's not that long ago that people were suffering in different fundamental traumatic ways. And so when that's passed down, then what our parents believe to be protection, right? Because some of them are just kind of trying to protect us. It actually ends up being their limited perceptions, because they were traumatized and so they wanted to be safe. And so they project onto us who we should be. We get it from the media, who we should be. We're told really quick that our dreams aren't realistic and that only a certain specific, really important groups get chosen. But in reality, the main thing that's holding us back from being able to be our most authentic selves and being able to love ourselves and all of that is going within and doing the work that the generations that came before us refused to do, couldn't do, were in too much of a trauma state to be able to handle on top of everything else. You think about, family systems where there was someone in the war, and, there's a lot of trauma that gets passed down through DNA, passed down through generations. And so if you just think about your parents alone, what did they have to go through, and what limiting beliefs did they put on you? I know from my personal experience that my parents grew up in the most dangerous town in our state. It's known for gun violence, and there was like a murder every day, and that's what they grew up in. And so to expect them to feel anything other than, I need to be prepared, I'm fearing for my life, and so I have to be in control of everything, that is going to be their state. It's what their environment was, right? And so when you realize that your parents and society and everything around you is projecting their realities, their beliefs onto you, and you have this need as a human species to conform, but in reality, what that need is to come together. We've lost the point of coming together while being ourselves. And that's where we are disconnecting, and we're not understanding why we're not happy. We're not happy because we're trying to fit in instead of figuring out who we truly are, so then we can find the people that make sense to us. And that goes with a lot of healing, right? We need to understand why we've died down who we are, why we don't feel comfortable speaking our truths, why we believe that we have to look a certain way in order to feel valid, why we feel like we can't speak our truths without people judging us. And if they do judge us, why do we care about the judgment of others, of people that don't even deserve to be in your mind because maybe they're a stranger on the internet or a person that you actually don't have any connection to? We hold too much weight on our outside world and not enough weight on who we could be if we went within and got rid of all the distractions outside of us. So how do you fix it? How do we become the best, healthiest version of ourselves? You stop the noise. We all inherently know what isn't benefiting us. We just like our vices and our crutches, and that's okay. But if we don't stop, then we need to at least be mindful. Are you watching TV because you had a long day and you want to reward yourself and relax maybe? Or are you binging Grey's Anatomy to escape the noise in your head and it's trying to tell you something and it needs to be addressed and healed? You ever have a vacation, you leave, you maybe go to a beach, you read all week and you relax? That is our natural state of being. That is why you enjoy it. Yet now we call it vacation and a privilege instead of a priority. Be honest. How long can you just sit in complete silence? It's a societal flex not to meditate. You know what happens in silence? All the shit you push down comes up because it never went anywhere. Look at disease. It's literally in the name, dis-ease. We run away from ourselves at all costs because we're afraid to feel, to be human. But if it stops our suffering, then where is the logic? Why are we not comfortable with crying out emotions? Because what you need to understand is that all of it is energy, and it's subconscious that's waiting to be released so that you can get some relief. So while you're sitting here and you're leaning on things, and I do it too, so no judgment here, but when you're leaning on things like, I binge TV. I'm very guilty of that. Grey's Anatomy is my shit lately. But, when we do these things, we are enabling ourselves to avoid ourselves. We are enabling ourselves to not do the work that would make us come home to ourselves. When I have a solid practice every day and I stick to it, of doing a guided meditation to start my day, a silent meditation to really ground in, slow down, get my day started, do a morning exercise, that day almost always goes very well because I'm here, I'm present, I don't feel the need to rush like society pushes, and then I can be a little more, I'm breathing because I'm not like I need to go here, I need to go there, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to be this, I need to be that. Is my views up? Is this? We can easily get overwhelmed with what society expects from us. And the reality is, and I'm seeing the scene from Harry Potter. I don't really watch it that much, so I only know a little bit, but it's like they get stuck in this spirit help me. It's like a tree. It's like vines almost. And I guess Hermione says the only way out is through. It's when you don't fight it, because they're fighting and they're trying to get out and they can't. But when they just let go and surrender, that's when they go through. And the reality is, more often than not, as a species, what we do is we try very hard to avoid our emotions. We've been taught since birth that emotions aren't healthy, right? Don't cry, don't do this, don't... Like, I could see the movie where it's like, there's no crying in baseball. Like, we've been taught for a long time. And so because we are not connecting to those emotions and kind of like having a group meeting with ourselves, basically, of like, hey, what went down today? What's going on with me? Why am I feeling this type of way? And getting to the root of it so that we can clear it for good, then we are always going to be on this rat wheel chasing things outside of ourselves to make ourselves happy, when in reality, we were the key all along But we've been so afraid of that because in order to go within, we're afraid of the things that are going to come up for us. But the thing is, you are never going to escape the things that want to come up for you, because that is the key to you healing. That is the key to you being the best version of yourself. That is the key to feeling truly free and feeling joy in the present moment. I have people that comment on my stuff all the time. How are you so happy when all you do is playing nature and you spend a lot of time by yourself? And it's like, because I find joy and peace in just knowing that I'm okay. The world is going to be okay. I'm just taking it one step at a time. I've healed the things that get triggered as I'm being triggered. I take stock and I reflect on my life and where I want to be and where I want to head. And I hold myself accountable, and I don't blame anyone other than me. That being said, if you got to go through the stages of grief to heal something, then of course do the blame game and cry and grieve and be like, how dare you? But do that for yourself. Heal for yourself. Reach acceptance for yourself. Don't put the blame on everybody else. I can sit here and be the victim. I used to do it all the time, where I was like, these people did this to me. They never understood me. They judged me and this, that, and third. Those are all true. Those are facts. But do I want to be a victim of it, or do I want to use that to change the narrative, to be in control, to hold myself accountable and understand that I am the way out and I am the way through? And that's where we need to get to as a society, where we realize that it's not Joe Schmo on the internet that's the reason that I can't get by in life. It's that I'm refusing to accept the things that are coming up for me that I need to process and to deal with. So what are some solutions? Harm reduction. Staying mindful of what you're using and why. Are we pounding drinks to avoid an emotion? Are we zoning out on TV to avoid the noise in our head? Do we need to quit certain vices, and how do we implement a plan for that? Another trick that I mentioned before is a morning body check. How you start your day will set the tone for your entire day. Are you rushing and checking your phone immediately, or are you prioritizing your time, slowing down, and becoming more mindful so that you're not overwhelmed from the get-go? Social media tracking apps are great if that's your vice, so limiting screen time as well. Mindfully eating, mindfully watching TV, basically overall keeping yourself in check and being as present as possible. Journaling at night to get the noise out, and silence at night to check in with yourself. New habits take time, so don't bully yourself while unlearning deeply ingrained habits. This is not going to be easy, and you're going to have days where you fall off, and that's totally okay. It's just a matter of what things work for you. Can you see yourself being someone that can journal with pen and paper? And if not, you could get a journaling app, but just taking that 30 minutes at the end of your night to go, I need to really reflect on what's going on. There's a lot of chaos in my head. I'm not telling you how to live your life, and I'm not telling you who to be. I'm simply saying that if you slow down, if you take into account what it is that you use and why it is that you use it. I'm someone who's 420 friendly. I'm not sitting here to judge. But what I'm saying is, I know when I'm leaning on my flower because I really don't want to deal with life's problems, versus when I'm using my flower to relax because I've had a stressful day and my body hurts. There are differences in that. I know when I'm watching TV because I worked all day and I'm exhausted and I deserve some time to relax and watch TV, versus when I'm binging an entire series because there's something going on inside of me that I don't want to address. And so moving forward, we need to be honest about why we are doing the things we are doing. We need to stay present and mindful from the moment we wake up, because how you start your day is how that day is likely to play out. If you're starting your day immediately opening your phone, feeling like you have to answer everybody, and then you're going straight to Facebook and you're comparing yourself to the lives of other people who are putting on a front and not being their real selves, and now you feel low about yourself. Now you're already on the go. See how already my voice is picking up and my speed's going, because it's like, you got to go here, you got to go there, you got to do this, you got to do that. You have the time for these things. It's simply that because we feel like we're constrained for time, we decide where we want to give our extra time. So if you have a job that's soul sucking, for instance, then you're more likely to make excuses for overindulging in foods, overindulging in TV, which again is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not here to judge. I'm simply saying it's going to be a lot harder for you to want to say, do a silent meditation when you get home from work, because it's like, dude, I've been working all day. I'm exhausted. I'm angry. I'm this, I'm that. But all of those negative emotions, if you do not process them, if you do not acknowledge them, will follow you into the next day, will follow you into the next week, will become an attitude, which will become a personality, which will become a part of you. And that's what I'm trying to like hone in on, you guys. Think about something that was really painful for you that you couldn't really address. And so to this day, even though it was 5+ years ago, that still has that same level of pull on you, because regardless of when you decide to acknowledge it, it is going to affect and implement your life in a negative aspect. And so what you need to ask yourself is, do I want to do the uncomfortable work now? Or do I want to keep running from myself until this either becomes something that I can no longer run from, which overwhelms my body? Maybe it causes an anxiety disorder. Maybe it causes dis-ease within the body. Maybe it causes health issues. Maybe you realize that you're becoming a shell of who you used to be. This is a really serious thing that you can easily get a hold of if you treat it as the same way you would take a shower every morning, the same way you care about the need to groom yourself. If you prioritize your mental health the same way you prioritize other things, you will understand that you do in fact have time for this. It's just that it's really uncomfortable at first, and it's okay that it's uncomfortable, but the more that you do it, the easier it gets. When I started this journey, crying was something that was very foreign to me. I didn't like it. I used to make it a flex that I didn't cry, which is not a flex at all. And so when this started for me, I was very intellectual. I was not an emotional person. And so I didn't like it. And I did a lot to avoid it. I smoked more weed. I watched more TV. I did everything I could until the universe was like, nope, we're going to put you into a pressure cooker. You have to accept what has been going on inside of you. And once I did that, nowadays things will pop up for me randomly. I'll have a random cry and then it's gone. It's released from me. And then I look back, because I journal, very important. And the person that I was a couple of months ago is not who I was today, because I am constantly making sure that I do not let whatever's going on in my mind that's negative to be that subconscious programming that is holding me back from moving forward. Every day I am checking in with myself, and every day I'm releasing whatever that day has, that tinge to the day that's negative. I'm letting it go so that I can move forward and have every day actually be a true new day with new opportunity and new possibility, and no negative programming in my mind going, well, this happened last time. We're not focused on that anymore because we've done our due diligence to heal it so that we can move forward. So to sum this video up, please stop running from yourself. Yeah, shit's likely going to come up that's really unpleasant. But how's escapism treating you? Slowly killing your soul, right? Life's going to have painful moments no matter how bad we want to escape from them. But you get to decide how that looks for you and how that plays out. Do you want the universe to continue to metaphorically slap you in the face with the bad luck? Or do you want to get your hands a little dirty, shed some tears, feel some anger, but inevitably come home to yourself? Love yourself in a way that you've never even imagined. Find the beauty in the smallest of things and moments. Finding peace in the silence. Being your own creator of authentic joy. How much is that worth to you? For me, that's worth being uncomfortable as long as I have to. In order to be free of this rat wheel that we call life. This is not living. This is unhealthy, and we have a choice to be happy as long as we learn. Have you ever been able to feel the physical vibrations of the waves of music? When you slow down, you actually can. Fun fact. Imagine you're in a car on the highway. That's how you've been living life. Are the trees breathtaking at about 75 miles an hour? No, you can barely see them, let alone notice the subtleties of the colors of the leaves as they change, because you're too busy going full speed ahead, death gripping the wheel, and praying you won't crash. That is not how life is meant to be lived. And you can choose to get off this ride. You can choose yourself. But that requires a level of vulnerability and bravery that a lot of humanity just doesn't want to face right now. But it's not as hard as it sounds. I'm hearing from my spirit guides the song, nobody said it was easy. Nobody said that it would be so hard. I'm going back to the start. Yeah, that's perfect. It's going back home to yourself. It's going back home to what is making me uncomfortable, what is making me sad, what is making me not live my most authentic, best life, and what limiting beliefs do I have? And think about thank you, Spirit, like someone who's really into scrapbooking. I'm not good at it, so it's hard for me, but it's like putting all the pictures out on the floor, right? And you're just like, all right, this goes here and this goes here, and what you're doing is you're creating kind of like a map for your mind of like, okay, high school is where this limiting belief happened, and childhood is where this made me believe that I wasn't enough, and in work, this is making me believe that my worth is only equivalent to productivity. And it's diving into the subconscious mind to understand why we have these limiting beliefs, what we need to do in order to heal them. It's going to come with a lot of tears, y'all. It's going to come with a lot of pain. It's going to come with a lot of how dare you. It's going to come with a lot of I can't believe I let this happen. But at the end of it, you're going to come home to yourself. And isn't that what we all want? Isn't that what we all deserve? So if you're willing to do the work, then you are willing to take back your life, and you're willing to live in a place of joy where you're not waiting for the next vacation in a year from now. You're actually enjoying your everyday life. You may have some days where you need to purge, and so you're sad, but you will have that intuitive nudge to go, hey, today's a day where I feel sad, I need to lay down, and so I'm going to watch some rom-coms, comedies, whatever it is that float your boat. But you're going to know what to do in that instance, and you're not going to be hard on yourself because you know it's for the greater good of yourself and for your evolvement. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it made sense. I wanted to give you a big scale picture so that you can understand why we become so disconnected from ourselves, why we don't believe that we're worthy of love, why we don't believe like we're enough. It's really going back to the roots. It's going back to these subconscious programmings that's in our brain that is not necessarily our truth to begin with, but rather the truth that people have instilled in ourselves that we've taken on as our own inner voice, as our own inner critic, and we have the power to undo that and unravel it, kind of like a ball of yarn. That's what I'm seeing in my mind's eye anyway, where eventually you come home to yourself of who you want to be. I didn't know that I wanted to be someone that was very hippie, that wore a lot of crystals. I didn't know who I was, but unlearning everything that I disagreed with in order to come home to myself was the best thing that I could have done, because it made me a version of free in a very not so free world. When you have control over your inner world, it'll reflect in the outer world, and you will find that your day-to-day life is much more enjoyable. And then on the days where it's not so enjoyable, you can be able to reflect and not make it so deep, not make it a part of you, and be able to understand that moving forward, life is all about change. It's all about highs and lows. And when you're in the lows, a high will come again. But it's realizing that we don't have to death grip onto all of these subconscious programmings that make us believe that we're less than we deserve. That's not true. We are all inherently worthy. And the more that you step into yourself, and the more that you step into who you want to be and where you want to go in life, and you have tunnel vision on that, the same way you tunnel visioned on all the things that made you hold back in life, once you change that, destination, you're going to find your true happiness. You're going to be more happy on a day-to-day basis. Things that are stressful will not be as stressful for you moving forward, because you will have control over your inner world. You will have a safety in yourself. You will feel like you can trust and depend on yourself. And once you have that, the rest of the world becomes a lot easier to handle, a lot more palatable. And you're going to learn to enjoy things you never thought possible, because you are now on a discovery to who you truly are that you've never really been able to tap into. And what a beautiful thing it is to self-discover and come back home to the truest, most authentic version that comes with a lot of happiness, to being the real version of you. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know down in the comments. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see future videos. Let me know what you guys want to see in other self-development videos. And I will see you guys in my next videos. I love you. You got this. Commit to yourself the way you've committed to things that did not serve you. And I bet you, bestie, it takes 21 days to make a habit. You got this. I will see you guys in my next video.